Oh, yeah, the dynasty is dead. The Patriots are finished. It's over. Will Brinson, John Breech, Ryan Wilson joining us shortly. We're going to break down what the Patriots need to do this offseason to figure things out and try and keep this little dead dynasty moving along. Offensively, first of all, I think we need to point out that, well, they have a problem at quarterback because they don't have one under contract. Tom Brady, his contract's up. We don't know what he's going to do. Maybe Belichick wants it back. Maybe he doesn't. Also, receiver, sort of a problem. Brady old, didn't have any weapons. Not a great season for Tom Brady. It's probably because Julian Edelman, even though he's coming off a career year, is 33, has dealt with a bunch of injuries. Philip Dorsett, Jacoby Myers. I love Jacoby Myers. Went to the greatest school on the planet for college, but he's still an undrafted free agent rookie. N'Keal Harry wasn't able to step up as a rookie and produce. And Mohamed Sanu looks like sort of a bust as a second-round pick. What's the bigger problem here, Breech? Quarterback, wide receiver, or maybe even tight end?
Wait, hold on a second, Brinson. I am not ready to join your dynasty is dead talk, but look, it could die a slow withering death this offseason because they have so many holes to plug on offense. You mentioned quarterback, you mentioned wide receiver, you mentioned tight end. I think it's at quarterback because you got to figure out if Tom Brady's coming back or if Tom Brady's not coming back. And if he's not coming back, you've got a bunch of quarterbacks out there. You've got to figure out who is under center because the wide receiver holes, the tight end holes don't matter if you don't have a quarterback. If you have second-year quarterback Jarrett Stidham throwing passes next year, and then after that, you have to look at wide receiver because, hey, Julian Edelman's 33 years old. He's banged up. You've almost wasted a first and second round pick because N'Keal Harry hasn't panned out. Maybe he gets better, but that's your first round pick. You gave up a second round pick for Mohamed Sanu. So if he doesn't start picking things up, all of a sudden that's a wasted second round pick. And then obviously with Ben Watson likely retiring, you have another hole at tight end. So there are just holes all over the place. This is a sinking ship. I don't know if Bill Belichick has enough Gorilla Glue to fix all those holes, but they got to try.
Yeah, and the problem for Bill Belichick, too, is that while he's going to have to deal with all this offense, and he's lucky that Josh McDaniels will be returning as offensive coordinator, the defense is sort of a problem, too. When you start to look at the defensive free agents for the New England Patriots that are showing up, Breech, who's the biggest name for you here? Because it's Devin McCourty, Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Danny Shelton, and Landon Roberts, a.k.a. the fullback who catches wheel routes. This is sort of a problem for them.
Yeah, this is a problem. I would say the one upside for the Patriots right now, though, is that they had one of the best defenses in football. Maybe they weren't the top defense because they didn't play great competition. They are definitely a top 3 defense. They have a solid defensive line. They have a solid secondary. So all their questions are at linebacker. Of those guys you named, Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Landon Roberts are all linebackers. You can't lose all 3 of those players because if you do, all of a sudden you have a serious depth problem at that position. I think New England will try and re-sign at least 2 of those guys. I cannot imagine Belichick letting all 3 walk. And I think your second biggest issue on defense is in the secondary. That's not necessarily something they need to take care of this offseason, but you do have Patrick Chung. He's going to be 33 by the time next year starts. If they re-sign Devin McCourty, he's going to be 33 by the time next season starts. So those guys are getting up there in age. And also, as you mentioned, Devin McCourty is going to be a free agent. And if you don't re-sign him, all of a sudden you need somebody else in the secondary to take over his spot at safety. So linebacker, safety, probably their 2 biggest questions going into the offseason.
A lot of problems with older players for the Patriots. Can't fill them all in free agency. Gonna have to do plenty of work in the draft. So for who they might target, let's throw it to our guy, Ryan Wilson.
So I think it's safe to say the Patriots had a disappointing season after that playoff loss to the Titans. They do have some needs, and it starts with wide receiver, which seems weird given that they traded for Mo Sanu and drafted N'Keal Harry. They also have needs at quarterback. We don't know what Tom Brady's going to do. Tight end, Gronkowski retired. Edge rusher. So they have a first and third round pick, They traded that second round pick for Mo Sanu. And here are some guys they could possibly target. Jalen Reagor out of TCU is a dynamic slot guy. He could replace Julian Edelman if he ever retires. The same holds for Justin Jefferson, who came off that LSU national championship win the other night over Clemson. He's another dynamic guy in the middle. And we're talking about quarterbacks. Jordan Love has a big week coming up at the Combine. And actually before that, the Senior Bowl. Terrible season in 2019. There's no other way to put it. Really good 2018 tape. So scouts and GMs are going to be watching him closely. Cole Kmet, Brady Quinn's guy out of Notre Dame, declared for the draft a few weeks ago. He is a Kyle Rudolph guy. He reminds me a little Kyle Rudolph, not quite Rob Gronkowski, but obviously would fill a huge need at tight end for Tom Brady or whoever the quarterback ends up being. And finally, Curtis Weaver out of Boise State, Really big season out there. Ton of sacks, set all sorts of records. His physical skills may be in question in terms of how that translates to the next level, but he's a high production guy, and it could be a target for the Patriots there at the end of the first round.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.